Good afternoon. In England's Premier League, today's match will have a major bearing on the relegation issue. Who will go down, who will stay up? In Scotland, Rangers 1, Celtic 0 means Rangers lead the title race by 2 points with 3 games to go. More details to come. Steve Claridge, Gary Pallister and Garth Crooks are following this afternoon's Barclays Premier League matches. Let's get the latest news on those games now. Fourth bottom hole, 3 points above the relegation places. They've dropped down the table like a stone. They're playing a Stoke side, all but safe. Damien Johnson reporting.
Hull City 0, Stoke 1. Ricardo Fuller's shot on the turn puts Stoke in front. A crucial lead they've got. Hull City have had chances but lacked a cutting edge. Sorensen's been in fine form in the Stoke goal, and Phil Brown has gambled, possibly the biggest gamble of his managerial career, having used 2 of his substitutes. There was an injury to central defender Kamil Zayate. Rather than replace him like for like, he's brought on striker Giovanni. Hull City looking to salvage desperately something from this game. They trail 1-0.
It's inconceivable Bolton could go down with 39 points, but they'd like to win today and be mathematically safe. They're playing a Sunderland side who've lost 6 of the last 7. They're in trouble. Andy May reporting.
It's goalless so far. Overall, Sunderland have been the better side. Kieran Richardson should have found the back of the net by now. He's had 6 chances at the Reebok, 4 shots over the bar, 1 that's hit the side netting, and a wide effort too. Fullback Steinson's gone closest for Bolton, firing wide after a mazy run on the right-hand side. A few thousand Sunderland fans have made the trip from the northeast to the northwest of England. They still haven't seen their side bag an away goal, though, in the Premier League since February the 1st when they played Newcastle. Bolton 0, Sunderland 0.
Sunderland lose, Hull lose, Middlesbrough and Newcastle draw on Monday. West Bromwich Albion beat Wigan. That was the scenario the bottom of the table Baggies fans had to pray for going into today's game at the Hawthorns. Ivan Gaskell reporting.
Yes, they've got 20 minutes to see if that partly can come true. They lead 2-1. They knew they needed to win it. They are winning it. Fortune set them on their way early on. Hugo Rodallega celebrated the recent arrival of Hugo Jr. with a deflected reply. Chris Brunt has edged West Brom back in front, rifling home the rebound after sub-keeper Kingston had saved his penalty. West Brom wondering, could they? Possibly. 2-1 they lead.
We'll find out in the 2 weeks to come. Blackburn and Portsmouth, 6th and 7th bottom at kick-off. They won't feel secure until they record another victory. Both finished in the top half of the table last season. Relegation fears this season. Richard Askham reporting.
Blackburn 2, Portsmouth 0. Ray, Blackburn with Chris Samba as a predictable but unplayable spearhead deserved their lead. The big man forced David James into a mistake for their first goal. Morten Gamst Pedersen slotting home. And Portsmouth have been physically second best throughout. Benny McCarthy got Rovers second from the spot. Hreidarson's handball gave referee Mike Riley no choice. McCarthy's spot kick gave James no chance. Rovers lead by 2-0.
And back to the KC Stadium. A goal which could turn the season. The Hull City against Stoke City. Damien Johnson.
I can tell you, Ray, Hull City fans are leaving the ground because Stoke City have scored a second goal through Liam Lawrence. A break from Ricardo Fuller. The ball broke to Lawrence and his right foot shot flew into the top corner. Stoke City lead 2-0, and Hull City, this could be the day when they start to head towards the Championship. 2-0 Stoke.
Hull City could be falling into the relegation zone depending on the result at St James's Park between Newcastle and Middlesbrough on Monday night. 6th place Aston Villa won their first match in 11 on Monday. They're away in 9th place Fulham today. Roger Johnson reporting.
It's Fulham 3, Aston Villa 1. A year ago, Fulham's fight for survival went to the final day. 12 months on, they're enhancing their European challenge impressively here. Ahead through an early penalty from Danny Murphy. They were pegged back by Villa's clearest sight of goal as Ashley Young tapped in. But Diamansa Kamara made it 2-1 within 30 seconds of the restart with an excellent driven finish. And Kamara tapped in another soon afterwards. Heskey and Rio Coca are on from the bench for Villa. Their season is fizzling out disappointingly. Fulham's very much still alive. Just over a quarter of an hour to play. Fulham 3, Villa 1.
Avoiding injuries has become as important as Premier League points for 6th place Everton. The cup final 3 weeks away now, but they can still catch Aston Villa and finish 5th. Opponents Tottenham could be joining Everton in next season's Europa League should they finish 7th. Lot to play for. Andrew James at Goodison Park.
Yes, Ray, no signs of safety first, though, from Everton. All those available players are out there and playing this afternoon, and they should be ahead. A much brighter second half, both in terms of the play and indeed the weather. Sunshine replacing the driving rain of the first half, and Everton have gone close through Cahill, Gosling who hit the post, and Pienaar just wide. It's Everton 0, Spurs 0.
Back to the Hawthorns. Dare they dream of staying up? Ivan Gaskell.
They're certainly dreaming. 17 minutes left. West Brom 3, Wigan 1, and Fortune has scored his second goal. He's taken his time about it, but he dallied and dillied, and eventually the shot came, and it sneaked in underneath the keeper's grasp. West Brom 3-1 up here.
Garth, the West Bromwich Albion, are they going to stay up? Are they going to confound everyone by pulling off a remarkable run of victories at the end of the season?
I can't see it. I can't see it. If they're going to do that, they're going to have nerves of steel, and it'll go to the right to the very line. But they've given themselves a great account today.
I think they've been playing without fear, though, haven't they? I mean, everybody is expecting them to go down. I think they've gone out there, unlike maybe Sunderland, unlike maybe Hull today, they've gone out there and you can see they're enjoying themselves and expressing themselves.
Still got to play Liverpool, Ray, haven't they?
Yeah, but Newcastle and Middlesbrough draw on Monday.
Yeah.
Hull are losing.
Still got to play Liverpool. They've got to win those 3 games.
Let's say Bolton beat Sunderland. Who knows what might happen?
Well, who knows? But I still don't fancy them to beat Liverpool. So if Liverpool is still in it, that's a tough game.
4 years ago, they escaped on the final day of the season. Stoke City are staying up. We knew they're staying up anyway, so well done, Stoke, to a degree. But Hull City's slide to the relegation area is quite alarming.
Well, I mean, today when this fixture came about, it was very interesting because we saw the body language between Pulis and Brown, and they went to shake hands. In actual fact, Brown offered his hand to Pulis, and Pulis shook it, but it was very frosty. And that was, I think, significant that there was no love lost between these two sides. And Stoke have gone there and given a really good account of themselves. They are safe now, in my view, and it puts Hull right in the mire. What
about Sunderland? There's been a reaction from their players today after a bad run of performances. Is a point going to be enough at Bolton today? If they concede late on, what a sickener that'll be.
Yeah, if they do concede late on, I think they'll rue the amount of chances they've had today, and a lot of them have felt that Kieran Richardson. He's not had his shooting boots on at all. He's had maybe 6 chances in the game from decent positions, and I don't think he's managed to hit the target yet. But in terms of performance, I think Sabrazia's got a reaction from his players. They've been much better today. There's been more energy about the side. They've looked like a team that is fighting relegation, but they still haven't scored.
Fulham are going to have their highest ever league finish at 7th, perhaps. They're going to qualify for Europe, and they're playing an Aston Villa side who have lost momentum at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're still giving a good account themselves. I mean, they won their last game, obviously, against Hull. I think ever since the 4th spot had gone, I think their performances have got better from Villa. And as I say, I still think they want to finish as high as they possibly can. Because if they do finish 5th instead of 6th, it'll mean that you know, they get that extra couple of weeks in the summer before, as an extra qualifying round that they'll be left out of. So I think there's a little bit left in this game. And as you say, Fulham have been absolutely fantastic all year.
Still time for scorelines to change in the Barclays Premier League matches. To Scotland, more details on the Old Firm game played at lunchtime. Roddy Forsyth reporting.
A crucial goal by Steve Davis, a crucial victory for Rangers, who are now 2 points clear at the top of the SPL after being 7 points adrift in December. Davis struck 9 minutes before the break after Andreas Hinko had been caught out in the box by Kenny Miller, whose cutback was rammed over the line by the Northern Irishman. Boyd could have sealed it 1-1 with Boric in the second half. The Polish goalkeeper blocked, but in the end, it didn't matter. Rangers 1, Celtic 0.
Rangers with a hand on the trophy now. 2 SPL games still underway. They feature the bottom 3 clubs, and only 3 points separates those 3 clubs. Today's results will be crucial in regard to relegation. Bottom of the table, Falkirk playing away at third bottom Kilmarnock. Brian McLaughlin reporting.
It's one apiece here. Ray Falkirk taking the lead against the run of play. Darren Barr with a header 11 minutes into the second half. The home side, though, deservedly equalising through Kevin Kyle with a 20-yard drive low to the keeper's right-hand side. The game now becoming more stretched as both sides go for what would be a dramatic winner. 10 minutes left for play at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock 1, Falkirk 1.
A goal for Falkirk would be priceless. Second bottom St Mirren playing 7th place Motherwell. Ian Turner.
Well, St Mirren are making a fist of it, but they trail Motherwell by 3-1. A double from David Clarkson and a Jamie Murphy header had Motherwell 3-0 up here, and St Mirren were in big trouble. Substitute Stephen O'Donnell has pulled one back for Gus McPherson's side, but with just 7 minutes remaining, it's looking as if it's another pointless Saturday afternoon for St Mirren. St Mirren 1, Motherwell 3.
still haven't won in their new home ground. In the Championship playoffs, by the way, Burnley and Reading kick off at 5:20. First leg of the semi-final between Preston and Sheffield United finished 1-1 last night. Second leg's to come in midweek. In the League One playoffs, Scunthorpe at MK Dons drew 1-1 last night. The Millwall Leeds semi-final first leg kicked off at 12:45 this lunchtime. Alistair Bruce Ball watched the match.
A great result for Millwall Football Club, sadly slightly marred by a mini pitch invasion straight after Neil Harris scored the crucial goal. A handful of fans couldn't control themselves and came tearing onto the pitch, admittedly most of them just to celebrate with their team, but as they were returned to the stands by the stewards, there was a confrontation with the Leeds goalkeeper Kasper Ankergren. The Dane claims he was pushed in the back. He turned to remonstrate and says there was then something thrown at him before the man was removed. We'll have to see if there are any repercussions for Millwall, but the key thing for Kenny Jackett and the players is they have an advantage to take to Ellen Road. It wasn't a great game, settled in the 71st minute by Harris after Gary Alexander supplied him with the cross from the right. Leeds had a good spell at the start of the second half, but then faded badly.
A Millwall fan has been arrested on suspicion of assaulting Leeds goalkeeper Kasper Ankergren during that match. Ankergren was apparently attacked during a pitch invasion following Millwall's goal in that match. Police sources were used to calm scenes of the ground after Neil Harris scored for the home side. There'll be inquiries into that one, of course, and the legal process will take its course. But when you hear things like that, it's not good for football, and the scenes at Stamford Bridge in midweek, and then we have to keep these things in perspective. But isn't the Respect campaign in shreds with what happened at Stamford Bridge on Wednesday night?
It's interesting. You mentioned Millwall. There are two things that are in common here. One, you've got people on the pitch, on the field of play, who've no right to be on the field of play. One who's a fan, the other who's a player. A player was substituted, he finds himself back on the field of play when he's no right to be there. And a fan on the field of play and allegedly attacking a player is nonsense. But then we have something similar in the Hearts-Hibs affair, where a player's now having to defend himself. What is going on here? And it's important that the football clubs respond positively. And if they catch them and they've proven that these people have committed the rules, abused the rules and regulations, they don't allow them back into the ground.
Steve, is the Respect campaign in shreds after what happened to the Bridge on Wednesday night?
Well, I think we have to have a balance. You cannot, whatever way you look at it, condone what went on, but there has to be a balance as to why it went on and the repercussions around that. This was a team that went very close last year. They've gone very close again, and they've been done at the very death of that game. And they obviously feel there's an injustice, but you can't condone what happened at the end.
4 so far 4. Stenhousemuir 4 this afternoon in Scotland. Alloa 3, Brecon 2. Plenty of goals in Scotland this afternoon. The new Wembley pitch got its first test today. In the FA Trophy final, Andy Barwell watched the game between Stevenage and York, both Blue Square Premier League sides.
29 points separated these two sides in the league, but the FA Trophy success might ease the pain a little for Stevenage in missing out on next weekend's conference playoff final. They were always in control of this, but it took them 69 minutes to open the scoring when skipper Steve Morrison poked the ball home from inside the 6-yard box. York's effort couldn't be faulty, but they were always second best, and Lee Boylan added a second goal for Stevenage in stoppage time. Wembley's much talked about new surface held up well, but there'll be 5 more matches on it before the FA Cup final in 3 weeks' time. In the FA Trophy final, it finished Stevenage Borough 2, York City 0.
Best wishes for Glossop North End and Whitley Bay, who contest tomorrow's FA Vars final. OK, Hull against Stoke. In the closing stages of today's Barclays Premier League matches, goals could be absolutely priceless. Stoke City, no one gave them a chance. They're safe. Hull could be getting relegated. Damien Johnson.
Yeah, Stoke lead 2-0, 7 minutes plus injury time. There should be a fair bit of stoppage time to add on after injuries to Kamil Zayata and Leon Court. But signs that Stoke are just shutting up shop here. Hull City have forced really to live off scraps. Barmby had a header wide, Ricketts fired wide of the post. Stoke, I think, very much in command here. They lead 2-0.
Any way back for Hull City, Garth?
No. Phil Brown's gamble's backfired. He's taken off his defender who's injured Zeta. He's brought on Giovanni, a bit of a quality, looking for a free kick at the edge of the box maybe. Nothing's happening. Stoke are defending brilliantly.
As it stands, Bolton at the 40 points mark and are going to be safe. Sunderland are points OK, but they need 3 really. Andy May.
It's still 0-0. Both managers have made changes in an effort to bag that crucial goal, which could mean 3 points. Not long left now. Richardson's had another shot on goal, number 7 in the match. This time he fired wide on the half volley, and Collins has also tested Jääskeläinen. The home side, well, they've had a few corners, but don't really look like nicking the win. Bolton 0, Sunderland 0.
Gary Pallister, the Sunderland lost 6 of the last 7. Are you seeing any encouraging signs that suggest they can get this point today and they can make sure they stay up?
Seen some fight in Sunderland. That's been lacking the last couple of games. I think today they've created chances. They've looked like a team that knows it's in a relegation battle, as they haven't in the last couple of weeks. Sabrisi's got a reaction from his players. They should probably be winning the game, but it's going to be very nervy for them in the last 5 minutes.
As it stands, Blackburn at that magic 40-point total. They're playing Portsmouth. Richard Askham.
Blackburn 2, Portsmouth 0, Ray. Portsmouth are having their best spell. They brought on 3 substitutes, and one of them, Jermaine Pennant, has shot agonisingly wide. Another, John Utaka, has had his shot blocked on the line. At the other end, the handful that is Chris Samba has had a couple of pots at goal himself, but Rovers overall coasting to victory.
Sam Allardyce leading Blackburn to safety. Portsmouth are going to be safe on 38 points, though, aren't they?
Yeah, that'll be more than enough, I would imagine. Yeah, quick word for Sam. Obviously, 5 points off of the safety when he went there. He's kept it simple. They've done their best impression of Stoke, but they've got the points, and they're now, it's mission accomplished for them. Excellent, well done.
A glimmer of hope for West Bromwich Albion. West Bromwich Albion playing Wigan this afternoon. Could have been relegated today. Can they pull off the most unlikely rescue act ever? Still a lot to do, but 3 points today would give them a chance, perhaps. Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, 3-1 they lead. Fortuné scored 2 of them for West Brom. They have often played such good football this season, and today they've scored the goals that have backed that up. They're looking very comfortable at this stage. I hope you guys haven't got too many plans tonight. We had an awful long stoppage because Amir Zaki got what looked to be a very nasty injury. He was down for a long time. He's been stretchered off, and he only had come on the pitch a few minutes before that. So we're going to finish quite late here, and West Brom lead it 3-1.
Gary, Chris Kirkland seems to be... He just seems to have no look as far as injuries are concerned. And can West Bromwich Albion pull off this remarkable escape act?
You're looking at one of the games being Liverpool away, so, you know, maybe if Liverpool got beat today and the title was lost and, you know, they've got nothing to play for, maybe West Brom could go and pull off a shock result. But as it stands, I can't see them getting out of it. But, you know, they've expressed themselves today. They've been playing without any pressure the last few weeks, and, you know, they've created chances. They didn't take them at Tottenham last week. They've taken them today. It's been a thoroughly deserved victory. And, you know, they have been a credit themselves. They have played good football this year. And, you know, they've won a lot of friends for that, but ultimately probably doesn't win you games.
And Fulham stayed up on goal difference last year. Remember that vital goal, 15 minutes from time away at Portsmouth to keep them in the top flight? Well, this season they could be finishing their highest ever placing in the top flight of English football and qualifying for Europe. Fulham at home to Villa today. Roger Johnson.
Fulham still leading by 3-1, Ray. We're at 2 minutes from the end of normal time, plus a few stoppages here, so the result is certain. Fulham very much in control. Villa haven't really offered much other than the goal from Ashley Young. Fulham have enjoyed their afternoon, and they lead by 3-1.
I'm hearing stories that Gareth Barry will be Anfield bound in the summer, and Aston Villa sort of just losing a little bit of steam at the end of the season, and Martin Keown saying he thinks his young players are going to possibly suffering from burnout. Not been an ideal finish for Villa, has it?
It's a difficult issue for Gareth Barry. I mean, Martin Keown has fulfilled his promise. He's given Villa a great season, and Barry's been intrinsic to that season. But if they don't get full spot, which they're not going to now, can you hardly blame the player for wanting to get into that Champions League arena? And I think it's still a dilemma for Villa and for Gareth.
Aston Villa 10 points from the top 4. Back to Ewood Park, Blackburn against Portsmouth. Richard Askham.
Yes, Ray, we're about to have a penalty here to Portsmouth. Keith Andrews adjudged to have handball after Nwankwo Kanu rather tricked him, a little shimmy, and then as he was crossing the ball, struck Andrews on the arm, or appeared to. He's still protesting to referee Mike Riley, who's waving the Blackburn players away, but we are going to have a spot kick. It's going to be taken by John Utaka. Paul Robinson just preparing himself on the goal line for Blackburn, who've dominated for most of this game, but Portsmouth have come back into it in the last 10 minutes. Here comes Utaka, right-footed, and he blazes it, as you will hear from the cheering Blackburn crowd, over the bar. Rather sums up Portsmouth's day, and it remains Blackburn 2, Portsmouth 0.
In the history of bad penalties, where does that one stand?
in the top three. It sums up, as the reporter said, it sums up their day-to-day. I didn't think it was a penalty. I think justice has been done there, and it just goes to show the interpretation of the referee is everything. On Wednesday night, you could have had 4.
Gary, I've heard of defenders putting the ball in row Z. Not often heard of strikers putting the ball in row Z from the penalty spot.
Yeah, maybe he's a bit cool. He's just come off the bench and he hasn't had a chance to warm up yet. But it's a terrible penalty. And as Garth said, I mean, it's interpretation of referees. For the three of us sat here, we're saying it's not a penalty yet. The man who matters, again, has given it.
It's a bad sign when your substitute comes off and takes the penalty. I mean, surely there's got to be somebody on there, who's been playing, as you say, who's given the authority to take it and should step up and take it, rather than substitute, as you say, who's just come off the bench and who's cold.
SPL, final whistle's gone in the St Mirren Motherwell game. St Mirren still in relegation trouble. Ian Turner.
Yeah, big trouble. They appear to have lost momentum, confidence, and this game by 1-3. Jamie Murphy's headed goal was an early setback for Gus McPherson's side, and when David Clarkson tapped home a second before half-time, it was looking grim for the Paisley outfit. Clarkson bagged his second of the afternoon before Stephen O'Donnell pulled one back for Saints, who now, with Falkirk seemingly finding form, must be considered a reasonable bet for the drop. St Mirren 1, Motherwell 3.
If Falkirk get a late goal to Kilmarnock, would be a very bad afternoon for St Mirren. Everton against Tottenham. Andrew James at Goodison Park.
Ray, Everton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Never underestimate the power of a knowledgeable football fan. Before the game, the season ticket holder in front of me said, "What do you think?" I said 4-4. He said 0-0. He's just departed with a smile on his face. It's been the game of two halves. Spurs better in the first half. Everton better in the second. Gosling hit the post, but in the final minute of stoppage time added on now, still Everton 0, Spurs 0.
Tottenham bottom in November, now going for a European place. 4 top 6 finishes in 5 seasons is remarkable from Everton Football Club.
Well, it's quite incredible. I mean, you've got to look at the percentage of players that he's got wrong. I mean, he spent all his money virtually on one player, Fellaini, got that absolutely spot on. The amount of money he's had to spend compared to the sides around him has been negligible. So it's an absolutely fantastic return from David Moyes, year in, year out. Quite brilliant.
Bolton against Sunderland, closing stages. Andy May.
It looks like the full-time whistle has just gone here at the Reebok. Goalless, and a good point for Bolton, who have now reached that 40 mark. 0-0 the final score. Sunderland are still in danger. The away side did fight hard though this afternoon. They created plenty of chances, most of which fell to Kieran Richardson. 7 opportunities all in all, including 2 shots he blazed over inside the Bolton box. Mark Davis and Cahill went close right at the end for Bolton. Cahill's header was saved away magnificently by Fulop to the left-hand side of his goal. It's still 8 weeks since Sunderland last scored away from home in the top flight. Their fans will be hoping their form on the road in the Premier League won't be the reason they're relegated. If they are, Bolton 0, Sunderland 0.
How important could that save late in the game be for Sunderland?
Well, I have to say, it was a magnificent save. Fulop could be the difference between Sunderland staying in the Premiership and not so. Puts them on 36 points now. They've got a sniff of seeing, safety, and that's most important.
Well, they were quite like the idea of Newcastle and Middlesbrough drawing at St James's Park. Final whistle at Goodison Park. Everton against Tottenham. Andrew James.
Yes, Ray, Everton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. The point apiece, little use to either side. Good news for Tim Howard. It means he set a new Premiership record for Everton. 16 clean sheets in a season. Gosling hit a post for Everton. The boos are for Lee Mason, the referee. But in the end, both sides will be content. Spurs a much better side at the end of this season than they were at the start. And Everton with no further injury worries ahead of the FA Cup final. Everton 0, Spurs 0.
It's a Craven Cottage where Fulham, a victory against Aston Villa, puts them 7th in the table. Europa League place on the horizon, and their highest ever finish in the top flight of English football. And Aston Villa's season, well, they've lost momentum, haven't they? Roger Johnson.
It finished Fulham 3, Aston Villa 1. As you say, both these sides could be in next season's Europa League. Villa are already there. Fulham's credentials look pretty strong after this. From the moment Danny Murphy's spot kick put them ahead, they rarely looked troubled. Villa did level through Ashley Young's tap-in, but their afternoon, like their season, fizzled out in the second half. Diamante Camara scored a cracker and a tap-in to make it 3-1. Roy Hodgson trotted off with a spring in his step. Quite right too. The Cottagers on course for their best Premier League finish with 2 matches to play. They outplayed Villa today. It finished Fulham 3, Aston Villa 1.
And Aston Villa only a point ahead of Everton now. To the SPL, Kilmarnock against Falkirk. Brian McLaughlin.
It finished Kilmarnock 1, Falkirk 1. Darren Barr giving Falkirk the lead after 56 minutes. Kevin Kyle equalising for the home side 10 minutes later. Indeed, Kyle coming close to snatching what would have been a dramatic winner. His header just inches past the right-hand post of Danny Mallow. A point for Falkirk, taking them now to within 2 of St Mirren, who they meet next Saturday. Final score here at Rugby Park: Kilmarnock 1, Falkirk 1.
We'll follow that game. Cracking game as far as the relegation issue in the SPL is concerned. And just a reminder, the Rangers beat Celtic by 1-0, top of the table by 2 points with 3 games to play. Back to the Hull Stoke game. Still some time added on. Damien Johnson.
Yeah, we're playing 6 minutes of stoppage time here because of that injury, long delay, an injury to Kamil Zayati, the Hull City defender. Hull City continue to huff and puff, but you just sense that this game is petering out, just as Hull City's stay in the Premier League is petering out too. The ground is virtually half full now. Many of the home fans have left. Hull City have a free kick. Let's see what they can do with it. As Giovanni and Dawson over it. The referee blows. Dawson. And he scored! Andy Dawson has scored. He's a bit of a free kick specialist. We have about a minute of stoppage time remaining. Can Hull City get an unlikely comeback here? It's Hull City 1, Stoke 2.
A drama late in the day on Humberside. Can Blackburn, can Hull get another goal and get a point? Blackburn against Portsmouth, final whistle at Ewood Park. Richard Ashcombe.
Blackburn 2, Portsmouth 0. Chris Samba might be a centre-half by trade, but playing up front again for Blackburn today. Portsmouth were unable to handle his raw power. He forced David James into a mistake for the first goal. Morgan Gams-Pedersen poking it home, had one of his own chalked off and caused unconventional havoc throughout. Blackburn's second came from the spot, a Ryderson's handball punished by Benny McCarthy. At the other end, John Utaka showed how not to do it, blazing over for Pompey late on. An excellent result for Blackburn, who can start thinking of booking that summer holiday.
Sam Allardyce has led Blackburn to safety, and you can only go down on goal difference with 40 points. Well played, Sam, Steve.
Absolutely, when you consider what, well, I mean, both these managers really, I mean, both took over the same brief to keep their sides in the division, and that's exactly what they've done. Sam was 5 points off of safety, and he's brought it probably a lot earlier than he imagined, has brought them through. Fantastic.
Let's go back to the KC Stadium, a closing stage, the closing seconds of the Hull Stoke game. Damien Johnson.
Well, Hull City appealing for a penalty, a dramatic finish to this game. Andy Dawson just scored that late goal, a free kick which brought Hull City back into the game. The ball deflected wide of the post. It was at least a corner, I thought, but the referee Howard Webb has given a goal kick. The clock is ticking. It's still Hull City 1, Stoke 2.
Was that a penalty kick as you look at the replay?
No, it wasn't a penalty, but it was definitely a corner. And that's what Giovanni's very... It was clear as daylight that it was a corner. They've not been given the corner. And in these situations where the margins are so fine, a corner might be the difference. The game's over. The managers have shaken hands. That's at least something that we can be glad about.
For Stoke City to stay up after what everyone said about their chances in the Barclays Premier League is remarkable.
Fantastic. I mean, they've played percentage football. They've kept doing what they believe in, kept putting the ball into the right areas. And in the end, it's proved too much for the opposition. Quick word about Hull. That goal difference now brings them within the respective Middlesbrough. If Middlesbrough win at Newcastle, they can go above Hull because of that goal difference.
There was the briefest of handshake and no eye contact between Phil Brown and Tony Pulis there.
Well,
Stoke City safe. Hull are now fighting for their Premier League lives.
Regardless of what the managers think of each other, this was a keenly fought contest between Stoke and Hull. Stoke came out on top, and in my view, quite rightly. Once again, Hull lacked quality. And the players can argue with Howard Webb all they like about the corner. It's gone now. There's nothing they can do.
Final whistle's gone at the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion playing Wigan. Is the most unlikely escape route ever going to be offered to West Bromwich Albion? They've beaten Wigan today. Let's hear from Ivan Gaskell.
Well. West Brom 3, Wigan 1. Entertaining, enigmatic. West Brom have been dead men walking in recent weeks, but another stay of execution thanks to this, in the end, a comfortable win against a Wigan side stumbling rather toward the finishing line. Fortune set West Brom on their way and wrapped things up with goals early and late. In between, Rodallega had levelled it for Wigan, whose start was as bright as their luminous green shirts, but then faded. Then Brunt rifled home the rebound after Kingston, the sub-keeper, had saved his penalty. It edged West Brom in front. They never looked back.
every chance Hull City will be in the bottom three, depending on the result at St James's Park on Monday night between Newcastle and Middlesbrough. A winner in that game could well be moving out of the relegation places, and Hull could be in there. What an afternoon. Just before we confirm all today's results, a reminder that our Saturday afternoon football service kicks off via the red button at 2:30. BBC One viewers join the programme at 4:30 to chart the final 20 minutes of all the day's games. And with all today's games just about over to Tim Gudgin to confirm today's final scores.
And we open with the Barclays Premier League. Blackburn Rovers 2, Portsmouth 0. Bolton Wanderers 0, Sunderland 0. Everton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Fulham 3, Aston Villa 1. Hull City 1, Stoke City 2. West Bromwich Albion 3, Wigan Athletic 1. West Ham United and Liverpool have a kick-off at 5:30. In Coca-Cola League 1 playoffs, the semi-final first leg, Millwall 1, Leeds United 0. The Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Kilmarnock 1, Falkirk 1. Rangers 1, Celtic 0. St Mirren 1, Motherwell 3. In the Irn-Bru Scottish Division 1, Airdrie United's match with St Johnstone was postponed. Dundee 4, Partick Thistle 0. Dunfermline Athletic 1, Clyde 1. Greenock Morton 0, Ross County 2. Livingston 2, Queen of the South 2. In Scottish Div 2, Alloa Athletic 3, Brecon City 2. Peterhead 2, Ayr United 3. Wraith Rovers 0, Arbroath 0. Stirling Albion and Queen's Park match postponed. Stranraer 0, East Fife 1. And in Division 3 in Scotland, Annan Athletic 1, Dumbarton 3. East Stirlingshire 0, Cowdenbeath 2. Elgin City 2, Berwick Rangers 0. Forfar Athletic 4, Stenhousemuir 4. Montrose 1, Albion Rovers 0. And the FA Carlsberg Trophy final, Stevenage Borough 2, York City 0.
And congratulations to Stevenage Borough, and thanks to Tim. Steve Claridge, Gary Pallister and Garth Crooks will discuss the significance of all today's results after we've looked at the updated league tables. And in the Barclays Premier League, none of the top four have played so far this weekend. Liverpool first up. They'll go top if they beat West Ham in the late kick-off. Manchester United play neighbours Manchester City tomorrow when Arsenal host Chelsea. Fifth place Aston Villa, just a point ahead of Everton now. Both have qualified for Europe, and Fulham also on course for a probable Europa League place for next season. Is the sequel to The Great Escape still on? West Bromwich Albion could have gone down today, but victory over Wigan has moved them within 3 points of safety. Middlesbrough and Newcastle meet on Monday in a high-stakes Tyne-Tees derby, so Hull could find themselves in the bottom three before they next play. In the Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, victory in the Old Firm derby leaves Rangers 2 points clear with 3 to play. Wins against Hibs, Aberdeen and Dundee United will now give Walter Smith's team the title. Goal difference could be a deciding factor if Rangers slip up and Celtic win their remaining matches. None of the other top half teams in action this weekend. Bottom club Falkirk couldn't hang on for victory at Kilmarnock, but a 1-1 draw leaves them just 2 points from safety. Nearest rival St Mirren went down to a third successive defeat against Motherwell. Scottish Division 1, champion St Johnstone had their final game of the season postponed due to heavy rain. New date for the fixture with Airdrie yet to be confirmed. Other results this afternoon means Airdrie must face a playoff to preserve their First Division status. Scottish Division 2, Wraith Rovers crowned champions last week. They couldn't end the campaign with a win, drawing 0-0 against Arbroath. Already relegated Stranraer went down 1-0 to East Fife. In Scottish Division 3, Dumbarton are promoted as champions following victory at Annan. Cowdenbeath, East Stirlingshire and Stenhousemuir can earn promotion via the playoffs. Bottom of the table, Elgin ended the season with victory over Berwick. And here's today's headlines now from today's Barclays Premier League matches. It's hell for Hull, but Stoke are full of beans as they secure their Premier League status. Ricardo Fuller and a brilliant Liam Lawrence strike prove the difference. Marc-Antoine Fortuné breathes life into the Baggies with a brace against Wigan. Could West Brom pull off another great escape? The Black Cats made their point at the Reebok to go 5 clear of the relegation zone. Gary Megson's Bolton have inched their way to safety. Pedersen and McCarthy goals mean Blackburn are virtually assured of beating the drop, but a David James blunder means Pompey have to play on to stay up. Kamara keeps Fulham focused on a place in Europe. The striker's second-half goals are the reward for the home side's cottage industry against Aston Villa. No making merry by the Mersey as Everton and Spurs cancel each other out. Dan Gosling's shot against the post comes the closest to breaking the deadlock. And it's a 10:30 start for tonight's match of the day. As ever, all the goals, all the saves and all the major incidents from those matches, plus the West Ham-Liverpool game still to be played, will be included. Match 32 tomorrow night will feature a vital Manchester derby and the Arsenal-Chelsea game. Well, as always, what an afternoon, and Hull City's slide is quite remarkable. 27 points up to Boxing Day, 7 since then, and they could be in the bottom 3 come Monday night.
Well, there's no doubt about it. The game Hull-Stoke City was very significant, and Stoke's victory is critical to Hull's future. They look right in trouble now, Hull, with 2 games left, and notably, both those games, Bolton away and Manchester United at home. Where are those points going to come from when there's precious little quality up front for Hull?
We say congratulations to Stoke City. No one gave them a chance of staying up, and I know they were nearly there before today's game, but their second away win of the season at struggling Hull, we have to say, what a terrific performance.
Yeah, I mean, they've made themselves very difficult to beat. They play the way they play. It's not pretty on the eye, but they know each player's got a job to do. They do that within a certain structure. Tony Pulis, you've got to give him maybe in line for Manager of the Year, because they were everybody's favourites to go down after the way they got promoted last year. So hats off to them. He's got a great team spirit there, and they fully deserve the points today.
Are West Bromwich Albion going to pull off an incredible escape? But also, as well, now Newcastle and Middlesbrough must feel that with Hull getting beaten today, they think, well, if we win on Monday night, we've got a terrific chance, a fantastic chance of staying up.
Yeah, I mean, it's given them the opportunity, certainly from Middlesbrough's perspective, because their goal difference was 3 goals poorer than Hull. So if they were able to beat Newcastle, they would jump out the bottom 3. Newcastle has a good goal difference. They can do the same. All of a sudden, there's a real opening, chink of light for either of those two. Are they good enough to take the opportunity? That remains to be seen.
Sunderland 5 from safety. A point today. Are they going to get safe? There's their manager, Ricky Sprazier.
Ricky, try as you might, just couldn't get that goal today.
No, not at all. We had a lot of chances first half. We played some, I thought, excellent football in the first half, and possibly maybe surprised Bolton how we set out the formation. But I thought overall we done super, and the big thing in their minds, why can't they do that every week? But I thought they were excellent, and I thought the fans were tremendous today.
You've been highly critical of your players, particularly in commitment terms over the last couple of games, but that couldn't be faulted at all today.
No, not at all. We've mentioned it many times to them, and we knew we had to meet the challenge here. They were a very good team, Bolton, and very difficult to beat. And I thought today the back four were outstanding. I thought overall the 11 worked their socks off, and with better commitment, more honesty. I thought that was fantastic. But with a little bit more luck, could have nicked it. Another way we could have lost it. So from my point of view, I'm really pleased with the point.
There was a save late in the day from Sunderland that could prove to be so important to them.
Martin Fulop has got to be the toast of Sunderland at the moment. I mean, Sunderland worked very hard. I think Brazier summed it up perfectly, but the save was sensational. It's well worth watching on Match Day tonight. And it puts Sunderland on 36 points with 2 to play. Bolton away, Portsmouth away, Chelsea at home.
Well played Fulham, on for their highest ever league finish, on for a European place. 3-1 victory at home to Aston Villa.
Yeah, and did it in style again. I think that's been the way that Fulham have played all year. They've looked to entertain. They've played some really attractive football. 2 goals of different kinds today from Kamara. One a great strike, one a cheeky little finish from a back heel. And yeah, hats off again to Roy Hodgson.
So now we turn back to the title race. West Ham against Liverpool. Which way is that going to go?
Oh, this will be a very close game. West Ham are yet to beat one of the top 4, but it's all been very, very close games. Liverpool might just nick it, probably because their need is that little bit greater.
It's been an eventful week, Garth, for the wrong reasons, perhaps. What's your summary?
Summary, I think it's been a difficult week. Good for Manchester United, bad for Chelsea.
Time to close here on BBC One, but via the red button, much more to come. Our